Hello everyone, welcome to William in the Magic Box. Today on our show we are going to have Chris. Chris is from Manchester in England, in the UK. So let's see what Chris has to say. Enjoy the interview.
Okay.
Hello,
Hi, William.
hello Chris, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks so much for taking the time this evening for the interview. Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
So tell me, how was your day today?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Yeah, it's nicer that the weather's getting nicer. Yeah, it just makes such a difference to your mood. It seems like it's been raining here for so long. It's nice to get the weather now.
Absolutely. And fun enough, it's been a few cold days, like unexpected. Like a few days, I was like, my God, it doesn't feel like spring anymore. I feel like very
Yeah,
winter.
yeah. Whereabouts are you?
I live in London. How about
Oh,
you?
right, okay, yeah, Manchester. Yeah. So
And Manchester is the place where you're born and raised?
yeah, it was. Yeah.
So tell me, what was the best part of growing up in Manchester?
Um, what specific to Manchester or the area or?
The city itself, when you think about your childhood memories, what comes to your mind?
Just going to the football, to go to see Manchester United. that was the biggest thing, because I lived about 20 minutes away from Old Trafford, so the stadium. So yeah, living so close to there.
I
Good memories. Not so much now, but
And you always support Manchester United.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Who's your favorite player right now?
Right now, uh, I don't know. I don't really have one right now. Yeah, I'm not. I still support them, but they're not the same as they used to be.
So tell me, what do you do for work, for living, Chris?
I'm an osteopath, so hands-on therapy. But also, still, I was a personal trainer before that, so still do personal training and a mixture of that and osteopathy as well.
I see. So tell me how your both careers started. Walk me through a little bit about your personal trainer and also your osteopath career so far.
Yeah, so I always at school I was always like into sports and into fitness, and got into the point where I left school and the only thing I ever thought I'd do was something to do with sports and health and fitness, and I thought that you needed to have a degree to be a personal trainer. So went to do sports and exercise science, did a year there, and then decided that I just wanted to get working. So I got qualified as a personal trainer. Worked in like David Lloyd in Cheadle in Manchester. Then went self-employed, and then just moved into the personal training realm. Then I think 2018, 19, I was still very much enjoying it, but was thinking about a long-term career prospects. So went back to university and did a 4-year osteopathy degree. Which was great, because I was noticing as a personal trainer, pretty much all my clients had injuries, which I wanted to help them with. And then went back, and now I qualified last year. So, but I didn't want to come away from personal training because I still really enjoy it. So yeah, I enjoy it so much that I like to do a mixture. So I've got the best of both worlds now.
I'll think to myself now, you get then work hard to get injured, and after you treat them afterwards.
Yeah, that's almost exactly how it works in a sense. But like my style of training's changed a lot, where it's more about health and longevity rather than just purely aesthetics and lifting heavy weights.
I see. And most of your clients, they are female or males?
Personal training ones tend to be male, but the people who I see will be a mixture. The ones who do personal training tend to be those who have very stressful jobs, a lot of stress in life, and they come for more longevity purposes rather than just lifting weights and doing things like that. I do quite a lot of like Pilates-based stuff, lots of not necessarily stretching, but like mobility movements. Things that afterwards, you leave and you feel refreshed and energized rather than beaten up. But yeah, the clients tend to be more male, but I'll get an even mixture from a patient point of view.
I see. Right. So during the journey, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your life and also about your point of view so far. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, let's go for it.
Chris, before we start our journey within the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself, or maybe something that not many people know about you.
Oh, okay. It's something interesting about myself. I'm trying to think what would be quite interesting. Not many people know. I played the guitar. I was very heavily into music. Yeah, I was growing up from about the age of 13. I loved. I taught myself how to play the guitar. Was very, very, very having much influence between music and football growing up. Interesting things. When I was 18, I got to meet my idol, which was Slash from Guns N' Roses. Met him in person, which was the absolute craziest moment of my life. Well, not the craziest moment, but it was a very surreal moment. It was one of the craziest things that I've experienced. So meeting him in person was interesting. But yeah, I think over the years of getting into work and being so focused on work, I think I've forgotten how much like play is important, like play is in just music and sports and just being able to immerse yourself into that. So yeah, if people who do know me haven't listened to this podcast, I'd say sports and music play a big part of my life and not just work.
So tell me, how did the opportunity it happened that you met him?
It was a meet and greet. So you could. It wasn't even crazy expensive. I think it might have been like £50 or something, and it was at the Manchester Apollo, and I queued up, and he was playing. It wasn't for Guns N' Roses. It was for a band called Velvet Revolver that he was playing in. And I met him and the rest of the band, and that was crazy. That was really surreal. I was shaking so much I didn't even get any words out.
That's amazing. Oh my God, those moments, it's always gonna be there in the memory, isn't it? It's incredible. Anyway, yeah. Chris, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing. Welcome to William in the Magic Box. So I've got him, my best friend. Okay, full of random questions. I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, okay?
Okay.
Let's do it. Right, so before we start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about, some reason you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Okay.
First question for you is, if you could have dinner with anyone, living or not, who that would be and why?
So immediately someone who I think would be interesting would be a guy by the name of Alan Watts. That's the first name that came into my head. He's a philosopher. I don't even know when he passed away, but he would definitely be someone who, if you talk about life and philosophy, and people he's one of the people who, if you have heard of him, you do know who he is. Then his thoughts on like philosophy and life are very, very deep and in depth. So yeah, Alan Watts would definitely be one. One which would be an obvious one at the moment would be Sir Alex Ferguson. I think he would be quite a good one to have dinner with. And then those two stick out. And then there's a person who I listen to a lot of stuff by called Ryan Holiday. I don't know if you've heard of him. So he's written a lot of books on Stoicism. He's got a series of books which I listen to just over and over again. So that would be he's just to ask him more about why he wrote those books and that. But those are the three that come into mind.
And what would be, if you had the opportunity to see three of them, in a table, what would be your first question to each one?
So with with Alan Watts, his would be more about like it is very, very deep stuff, like what's the meaning of life, what do you really think, why are we here, what are your thoughts on how we pass the time, what's our purpose. With Alex Ferguson, it would just be more about what's your driving force, because I think it's understanding how what made you keep going and want to get better, and how did you look at things to continually grow and get the most out of it? Well, I'd just ask him, how do you get the most out of people and how do you get the most out of your players? And then, yeah, it's just more about anything that helps you understand how to control your own mindset and really stay focused and understand what you're working towards. So how to remain goal driven.
And what's the meaning of life for you, Chris?
It's a mixture, really. It's about, I think we need different pillars to it. I don't think it's as simple nowadays as it's this. I think we need purpose. That's the primary one. You need to have a purpose that you're working for. I think it's understanding about how you work in well with the community, with either your friends, your family, and something higher than yourself. So working for something above yourself. So for a kind of greater good, but also being able to move forward to something that you can feel proud of whilst not losing sight of the beauty and simplicity. So just everything every day, the small little moments, and not overseeing them or overlooking them because you're allured to this future grandeur. It's being able to just be completely present and enjoy things as they are.
I think simplicity, you said something very important. I think being simple or simplicity, there's such a beauty in there that sometimes people don't see it, don't spot it. But simplicity, it's one of the most beautiful things that you can spot it and appreciate as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think that there is life after death?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to life that that we could ever understand, and I think that I don't think it's as not straightforward, but as like say there's a heaven and hell, and after that you go to heaven, you go to. I don't believe it's anything like that. I do believe that there's more to it, probably more to that of like reincarnation, or your life is there's like a flow of energy that goes into different things. I definitely believe that when people say like they've been here before, or that someone's an old soul or that type of thing, I definitely think there's young and old souls, and people carry emotions and experiences from past lives with them. I definitely believe that.
Amazing, very good. Next question, let's do it.
Okay.
Hey Chris, next question is, what's the biggest difference between you and your best friend?
I don't know. The biggest I have a very, very intense desire to better myself, which I don't think I'm not saying people don't have, but I get very frustrated with myself if I'm not continuously progressing and understanding things. And I have a tendency to pretty much obsess over concepts I get in my head and have to figure things out, which works great for work. It's fantastic for my own work. But I have probably an intense need to understand things to a very, very deep level, which I don't come across much. So yeah.
And what's the biggest similarity between you and best friends?
Me and my best friends. Biggest similarity. I think you just gel with people who are into the same thing. So eating healthy, wanting to be healthy, the things that you do, your views on the world, just how you'd want to spend your time. Like all the people I'm close to will be into health and fitness. They'll want to be more focused on that than anything else. So yeah, I think common interests and looking after your body and living a healthy lifestyle probably.
And you always have this mindset of being, going after your goals and, being very disciplined. Always had that.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. I'd from as soon as I began training, personal training and things like that, and realized, especially going self-employed as well, that you have to be your own motivator and you have to be your own person who drives yourself forward. I'd definitely say so. Yeah.
Amazing. Next question. Let's do it, Chris. Right. So before the next question, tell me what's the biggest joy of being a personal trainer? What's this feeling when you are, doing your job? And the flip side, what's the most challenging about the career, in your opinion?
The best thing is just when a personal trainer and osteopath like is a mixture. I'd say it's just when you've seen a genuine change in someone when they turn around and say that's you've really helped me. You've either helped me get out of pain or you've helped me feel the best I have. And when someone turns around and says, for me, it was less about aesthetics and more towards getting people out of pain. And so when people turn around and say, I've struggled with this issue for so long, or is in a lot of agony with it, and then they say it's not the case anymore, that's extremely rewarding. The most frustrating thing is just when you can't get through to people that it's not just what I do. It's not just what they do with me in the gym or in the treatment room. It's what they do, what they eat, how they move, how they, what they put in the body. Because with a lot of people, it's not just follow this plan, follow this diet, go to the gym. It's the whole psychological outlook on the whole life and why they use food to help themselves and why they use why they might be drinking, and it goes on a deeper level where sometimes it's not just the food they need help with, it's their whole psychology. So that can be very challenging at times.
Do you train like yourself? Do you train like almost every day? How is your routine about training?
It's changed a lot. It's changed a lot recently. In the past 6 months, I just try and move and do something in a healthy. That's good for your body rather than trying to lift really heavy and things like that. And I've moved in the past year over to more running training. So getting into sprinting training rather than actual weights. Just because your body just feels better, you move better, and it's still something to put all your effort and energy into. So you can train just as hard if you're doing short, intensive intervals, but you don't have the repercussions of just being achy and stiff all the time.
I see. All right. Next question is, what's the worst advice have you ever given?
That I've ever given?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'd say it's definitely like when I started training people, the methods that I used to use now I wouldn't give again. Like it's funny because there's like that like bell curve of learning that when you start off and you don't feel like you know everything, and then you get to the middle and and so forth. But anyway, it's you sometimes can assume that you have a good knowledge of things, but when you look at it from a different perspective, you realize that you don't really know anything. And I'd say that when I was first training people, I don't think the systems were bad. They were very commonplace, lift heavy barbells, do this, do that. But I definitely wouldn't be giving that advice now. So the worst advice was probably when I first started the weight training advice I was given, which is given to people, which is common. It's still commonplace now. Yeah, it's definitely not what I would do now.
I can see your tattoo you have here. What's there?
So that says it says "Be a good dad" or "Be a good father" in Italian, because my granddad was Italian, and that was when he passed away 7 years ago, and that was one of the last things that he said to me.
Wow, amazing! And do you have a big family? Do you have brothers and sisters?
I've got 3 sisters. So I've got 3 sisters, 2 older, one and one younger, and I've got a daughter as well.
You have a daughter as well?
Yeah, I got a daughter, yeah.
Oh my God, wow. And what's the best part of being a dad?
Just everything, really. Everything. Just she loves football, like absolutely loves football as well. Like she's become obsessed with Man United, funnily enough. Like, so just sharing that with her is just amazing. So yeah.
Oh, and so far, what's the most meaningful lesson you've learned from her so far?
Just that thing of being a good role model and being a good example, because the kids will just completely imitate your mood, your mannerisms, your outlook, and not prioritizing work over time with them. And the time with them is the most precious thing that you're going to get.
Wow, amazing. Next question, let's do it. Next question for you is, talking about family, who in your family you would trade place with for a day if you could, and why?
It would definitely have to be, and if my sisters do listen to this, they'll understand why. I've got three sisters, and the two older ones are twins. It would
Oh,
definitely
wow.
be, yeah. So it would definitely be the one of the twins, which is my sister Kelly, just because. Well, first of all, she lives in Florida, so I suppose that would be a bonus. But then, secondly, I've never, and all my family will vouch for this. I've never met anybody in the world like her in terms of how happy-go-lucky and just she lives in her own world.
Wow.
And I've never come across anybody who's just that happy in their own little environment and in own headspace before. So if I could be her for a day, I think that would be quite fun.
Are they identical twins or different?
Yeah, they yeah, pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
Wow. And she's the one that you are more close to in your family or not?
Uh, no, out of the three sisters, I'm definitely closest to my younger sister. Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Okay, so let's see now that your sisters, all of them, they are watching this interview right now, and
Yeah,
you have a moment or
yeah.
opportunity to tell her, to tell them, to send them a message right now. What would you say?
For my little sister, she's been the driver behind a lot of the business ventures that I've done, and I couldn't have done any of it without her. And I'd kind of call her like my secret weapon, in the sense of she she's done so much behind the scenes work that people will just not see and take for granted. But without her and the ridiculous hard work she's put in, I just wouldn't be able to do what I do. And then my other two sisters, they know they know how I am, and they kind of like respect that. And yeah, it's a bit weird, because I think that the older sisters, the twin sisters, they've always had each other and been very, very close. And I think the way I interact with them has been less, but they know how that they still mean a lot to me and how much I love them. So yeah.
Oh, sweet, very sweet. Next question, let's do it. Right, so before the next question, let's see. I've been to Manchester before, but let's see, someone come to Manchester for the very first time. What would be your a place that it's is the postcard of Manchester? What's a place besides the stadium, of course?
Yeah.
What's the place that they should visit? What's something about the city that you think it's a great place?
Manchester itself is the city centre is very nice, and there's lots of nice places from a tourist point of view. But I would actually take people out of a little bit further out, and take them to there's a lot of very beautiful places in the suburbs where you can go for walks and see the countryside. And I don't live in the city centre now; I live further out. But it's there's some walks quite close to me. I can't. There was the specific one. I think it was called Kinderton Hill, and if you go there on a sunny day, it's just absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. So I wouldn't take them to the actual city centre and see all the landmarks. I'd want to take them out and say, let's go on this walk, and you'll see all the beautiful countryside scenery.
Amazing. Okay. Next question is, what's the biggest risk have you ever taken?
A lot. The I've definitely taken a lot of risks. Probably several with being self-employed, and a lot of them with setting up different businesses and like different business ventures and going all in with that, taking on um, like facilities. And the biggest risk I think is just trying to continuously grow. I think if you were to say what's the single one, there's definitely several, but I think that I've just got it imprinted in my mind now, which is I'd rather fail and have tried than not have tried at all. Which I have done. I've not, I've taken risks and it's not worked out the way I'd want it to. But I'd always wanted to have had a go than not. So I couldn't give you a certain answer, but all I can say is that I'm glad that I did at least try with each of those risks.
I think you never know if you never try. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
You need to try somehow. Sometimes it becomes memories or it becomes lessons. It's just all about trying all the time. And when you analyze yourself, Chris, when you think about yourself, what's the biggest part, the biggest joy of being you? What do you like the most about being Chris?
I like the way my brain works, in the sense of the effort that I've put in to think the way I do, and I'm glad that I've ended up where I am now in terms of the joy I get through work that has come through not giving up when it has been hard. So the job that I do now, I say regularly, I couldn't enjoy my job any more than I do now. I absolutely love it. And so the best thing about me is how much enjoyment I get through my work, but that has come from persisting at it to a level where, fortunately, I understand it, where it becomes fun. It's just like when I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with somebody or trying to figure out a problem. It's like a big puzzle, which is really fun to do rather than it feeling like work. So that's the best thing I'd say.
What's your star sign astrology?
Pisces, so March.
March? Which day?
Yeah, 2nd.
Okay, my mom is 9th of March. Actually, I was back from Brazil and I was there for her 60th birthday. Like March was the best time.
Yeah.
Right. 3 questions left. Let's do it.
Okay.
Before the next question, personal trainers always, when I'm in the gym, when I see personal trainers, always have this idea. Personal trainers, they are also psychologists because they talk a lot. People, they share a lot, about their lives. They ask advice. I'm sure they share a lot of emotions as well. And of course, sometimes some of those energy can be a bit negative. Sometimes can be a bit drained. You know what I mean? Because somehow you are dealing with emotions as well. For you, what do you do sometimes not to block those negativity, or maybe some maybe topics that for you was a bit too heavy, not to bring this to your personal life or to bring this to you? There is something that you do it, or how do you deal with that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that you have to take ownership of the conversation and steer people away. And that's like personal training. For anybody listening who is a personal trainer, it's the actual training that you do with somebody is almost like minimal, as opposed to the person and client management. And your choices are being able to rise above them, and if they want to talk about negative things, that you don't respond, or you stay quiet, or you just change the conversation. I am not to say big advocate of it, but I do think it's important that if somebody isn't not worth the time, but if somebody is an energy vampire, you really need to reassess whether that person's worth keeping on as a client. And that always boils down to how well they treat you. So if they're cancelling a lot, or they're not good with payments, then you just hold your hands up and say, look, I don't think this is the right service for you, in the most respectful way. But doing an audit of your client base and making sure you're not taking on those type of people, because your business will only grow proportionally to the quality of your client base. And if you've got a client base which is like that, you won't grow as well. You'll dread going to work. So it's taking ownership of it, being able to rise above it and changing the conversation, or just getting rid of the client.
I see. All right. Next question is, what can make you cry and what can make you really happy?
The same thing, watching The Greatest Showman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he'll do both. Yeah, well, that film, it's on quite a lot at the moment. I just, it came out at a time which, there's a lot of things in that film which are very close to the bone in terms of everything. So, it's a very happy film. It just reminds me of my daughter and my wife, and it makes me, both very happy, but also I watched like 5 minutes of the weekend and I thought I was going to go, so I changed the channel.
Tell me something, I think men, our tendency, it's always about, hiding our feelings, no showing, being vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that nowadays men, they are more open about that? They are more kind of, open to express their, what I believe is now, asking for help, or it's a big sign of being strong. You know what I mean? I think people, they need to understand that sometimes, and understand sometimes we don't share emotions and our weakness very easily. We prefer to keep, to hold, In your opinion, do you think nowadays men, they are more open about that?
Yes and no. I think that if you go by generations, like if I look at my dad and that generation, talking about feelings is quite taboo. And whether men are I think some men are getting better at it generally, and some aren't. And I think it's just how much you're trying to live up to to what you think society perceives of you. My kind of frustrations and issues have always been internal, of like how I see myself. So it's always, am I living up to my expectations? But the reason why I could say that about, openly say that to you about crying at that film, is because I genuinely don't care what anybody else thinks of me. Is in like, so if there was another guy who turned around and said, "Oh, that's stupid," or "That's sad," or you're this or that," I just wouldn't care. Like, it does. So it's I think that the bravado that men put is just a shield for deeper insecurities, and so that's all it is.
Amazing. 2 questions left. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris. Next question is, what do you think is a good age to start dating, and why?
I'd say 16. I think that 16 is probably a sweet spot, because anything younger than that is probably too young, considering where it can go. And anything above that, you might start to get that anxiety of knowing how to interact. So yeah, I'd say 16 is probably the sweet spot. So yeah.
Tell me about, who was your first crush and your first love?
First ones. I think. I think from memory, and this is going way back. I can't actually remember it, but I think I had like crushes and girlfriends from the age of like 4 or something like that. I think that I was always that type of kid who got infatuated very easily. I think all the way growing up, it was quite. I think I was interested from an early age. So yeah, and then I think the first like heartbreak probably happened about the age of 11. So that was I think so. But I'm not going with names, because that's
of course.
Yeah.
Last question. Ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Wait, last question. Right, but before the last question, I'm going to ask a question in two parts. The first part of the question is, through your career, yeah, as a personal trainer or osteopath, tell me a situation or a moment that you're never going to forget, that for some reason, you still remember it for any reason. And the other part of the question is, people watching this interview right now, or, people would like to connect with you, to work with you as their personal trainer or osteopath. Tell me something unique about the job that you provide that they cannot find anywhere else around.
Okay, so the best thing is, and I think it's good for this type of interview, is that with the osteopath type of thing, it's about like kind of reading the whole picture in front of you, reading the person's like mannerisms, tone of voice, the way they're carrying themselves. And my kind of specialty is movement through walking. So watching how people walk and then gauging it back to that. And it's not about looking at the small specific problems. So they might say, "Oh, my knee hurts." It's about looking about the entire system. Like, it could be nothing close to the knee. It could be all over the body. So it's treating the body as one whole system, which is, I think, is definitely a specialty. And then tying it in together and giving them exercises, which helps them address that. But in terms of one specific moment that jumps out, I think that when you treat anybody who's been through trauma, whether it's emotional or physical or disease or anything, you really are able to tap into that and how it stores in the body. And there's been a lot of times where you'll treat people like that, and the response you get in terms of the release they get, or the relief and being out of the pain, whether it's physical or emotional, that's incredible when you're able to help people on that level.
Amazing. Okay, last question is, good question. What does love mean to you?
It means being able to put yourself in that person's shoes and see the way they see the world and understanding it, and being able to act in a way which will help them have a better life and improve them. So if you come away from the whole like romantic thing of basic romance and sitting down watching a film or any all those type of like cliches, I think when you truly do love someone and want to show it, the greatest way you can do it is seeing the world from their perspective, and then your actions are to help them improve their life or improve their quality of life or help them be a better person, whether it is to your detriment or not. And I don't mean it's like so you put yourself out and you sabotage your own self, but it's acting selflessly in a way that benefits the other person so they can grow, so you can both grow together, rather than being just giving like whimsical, like here's some flowers, here's some clothes, here's some whatever, just to look like you love someone. You've got to show it. Your actions have got to be speak louder than your words.
Do you believe that there are different kinds of love?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that when you the feelings that you get when you initially meet someone, it is what we kind of think is love, but obviously there's love and there's lust and there's those emotions, but that from a brain point of view, the chemicals that are going through your brain is because there's an excitement to build up, obviously to get two people to get together, and I think that the different types of love, when you're with people for a longer period of time, is just that is to love and understanding are essentially the same thing, is being able to understand that person, how they think, how they tick, and whether what you're doing is helping them or hurting them.
Love it. Right. It's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to give away
Okay.
some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Be thinking. Let's start with money.
Freedom.
Fear.
Happiness.
Family.
Love.
Life.
Purpose.
One word for love.
Laughter.
Sex.
Say. Passionate.
Okay. Religion.
Interpretation.
Politics.
Distractions.
Friendship. One word.
Laughter.
Desire.
Misleading.
I like that. Regret.
Regret.
Yeah.
Meaningless.
Success.
Relative. So I know it's one word, but just yeah, relative. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Wish.
Determination.
One word for happiness.
Family.
One word for Manchester.
United.
One word for England.
Home.
One word for personal trainer.
Powerful.
One word for osteo. Yeah, sorry.
Osteopath. Powerful.
No,
yeah. Powerful just because they can make a big difference. They can make a bigger difference than they realize.
I see. And one word for osteopath.
Creativity.
Interesting. One word for music.
Joy.
And the last one now, Manchester United. One word.
Underperforming.
Oh my God, you are saying, okay, not me.
Yeah.
Let's play now, Chris, in the magic box, and you can ask me a question. But before asking the question, tell me how music came into your life.
Music.
Yeah.
How did it come into my life? I think it just my sisters had they were like 7 or 8 and they got given an acoustic guitar, and I think at 13 I just the guitar was just out, just kept in the house somewhere, never used. I just picked it up and just went to a local guitar shop, got a book, and then started playing. It was just more. I thought it'd be a cool thing to do.
Amazing. Okay, you can ask me a question now, Chris.
Okay, if you could change one thing about the world, what would it be?
Wow, what's a great question. What a great question. You know what? I'm gonna go. If I could change about a little bit more about people's minds, a little bit, to open up their minds a little bit, I think would change a lot just because of that. There's some wars happening right now. There are some people hurting other people as well. People, they are still, judging people for the way they look, the way they behave, the way they brought up. And I think if I would had, if I could change that in people's mind, that they could be more approachable, more understanding. I think understand. You don't need to accept. You don't need to, to fully understand. But if you would respect, if you would see it, if you would, put yourself in their shoes or try to, and understand, include myself. Sometimes I can see things that for me doesn't make too much sense, or for me it's a bit different, but respect, pass on the side and leave it. People be themselves. Let people behave the way they think it's good for them. As long as they are not hurting people, we are not hurting people, why not? And also, I think people, they will be more open-minded and understand as well. I think a lot of pain in the world right now, what's happening, if people be more understanding and respect, I think we would be in a different world right now. So yeah, if I would change just this thing I think it would give a big impact in our society, in our lives overall. I believe if people be more open-minded and understanding, for sure. Did you enjoy the interview, Chris?
Yeah, it was amazing. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks so much for taking the time. Thanks for being so kind and accepting my invitation. But before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this today, and my current favorite quote is "Chop wood, carry water," and it was from one of the. I heard it in one of the books on Stoicism, the guy who I mentioned before, Ryan Holiday, and it was just about like I said before, about the simplicity in doing small mundane tasks and getting good at them, and being able to endure that building of something bigger by doing small steps each day. Because I think that the way we're going is that people want to shy away from things like that, but that's the character building that we need. And it can be very, very simple tasks, but the better you get at confronting things, of just doing the things that need to be done, that contribute to a greater sum, is very, very important. So yeah, I was thinking about that today, and it just means just keep doing what you're doing, carry on, keep doing what you're doing, carry on, and don't stop.
Amazing, very good. Regards to your sisters, to your family, and we keep in touch. Okay, it was a pleasure.
Yeah,
okay? Take care.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye bye. Bye.
Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why do you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.